All right, everybody, welcome back to the Fort Worth Music Academy podcast. It's been a little bit since all the COVID-19 stuff happened. We took a little break from the podcast, but now we're kind of getting back into the swing of things. And what better way to get back into it than meeting with one of my favorite people on planet Earth? No joke. It is artist and Fort Worth local, Amy Byers. Welcome, Amy. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you, Eric. How are you?
Good, good. So I'm going to let Amy give you guys a little bit of background about who she is and her art and her career as an artist. I really love her art. I'm a big fan of it. And she's got quite a following in Fort Worth. I didn't even realize you've got like 1,700 followers on Instagram, which is cool. But I just want to say that Amy is one of the most grateful people that I know, and she is consistently expressing gratitude to me and on social media. And she's just a true joy to be around, and she always finds the good in everything. So I just wanted to say that. Look, it makes me cry.
I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. So with that, Amy, tell us a little bit about you.
So I am a painter. I do fine art paintings out of my home studio in Fort Worth, Texas. I've been doing it for about 3 years now. And
Is that it? 3 years?
Yeah.
Wait, did you grow up like drawing and painting and stuff?
So I've been doing it for 3 years professionally.
Yeah.
And I started out as a little girl. My grandma was a painter, and she decided to start painting in her retirement. And as a little girl, I was just fascinated that she wanted to spend all of her free time painting. And so I picked up a brush alongside her, and I absolutely fell in love. And I understood why she wanted to spend so much of her free time putting paint on a canvas.
Now, how old were you when you started doing that?
I was about 5.
Wow.
And I pursued art through high school until I discovered drugs and alcohol. And that took the wheel of my life and played the main role for about the next 13 years. And I did get accepted into the TCU art program.
No kidding.
But yes, and I entered into that program fully addicted to cocaine and alcohol. And so I did not prioritize art at that part of my life.
Now, real quick, I just, feel free to share as much or as little as you want. What was that like, for lack of a better word, balancing those things, the drugs and the alcohol with trying to, what did that look like?
Well, there are several types of addicts and alcoholics, and for a long time I was a functioning one. And I thought that drinking and doing drugs made you creative or opened up a creative side of you, and that was just a false idea that I had that I guess was presented by the media, and it stifled my creativity and held me back. And it was a constant struggle of being too hungover or just too strung out to create art. And eventually it took over my life, and I lost all desire and drive and ability to do art at all.
And then so then at some point the art completely stopped.
Correct.
Wow. And how long did that period last?
I would say about 4 years.
4 years.
I was in complete darkness, and my life was completely ruled by drugs and alcohol.
Wow. And so then now were you married? Because you have a really awesome husband. He's great. And how long have you guys been together?
We have been together only for about 3 years. Little.
So you guys got together kind of right in the middle of your darkest period.
Yes, he is a huge reason why I am able to say I'm 3.5 years sober today.
Ah, that's awesome. And then he gave up all of that stuff too
Right.
than you did,
When
right?
I met him, he had no idea about my past or who I was. And he is we call him normies like you. Um,
Is that like kind of a better way of saying basic?
no, but I hid my addiction from him until I had my last and worst overdose. And he found me and saved my life. And I promised him I would never drink or use again as long as we were together. And that was 3.5 years ago.
Wow. Now that's incredible because I know a lot of times with addiction, it's you get those false promises and things, and people will say that, and then it becomes like, yeah, yeah, okay, we'll see. But you really have kept your word on that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And so it was when he found you that was the turning point when he saw you at your worst.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna die. And if he hadn't have found me when he did, and he basically forced me against like all will into an ambulance, and they restarted my heart.
Whoa. So you technically died.
Yeah.
Wow. And so do you think was it the brush with death, or was it the fact that he saw you like that? What do you think it was that made you say, okay, now I'm done?
I think being, it was that I had completely given up on everything in myself and life so much. And then I had that like almost resurrection, and I felt changed.
Yeah.
It's almost undescribable, but I went through a point of, this is knowing in my mind, this is the end, this is it, and there's nobody that believes in me, and there's nothing else I can do, to opening my eyes in this hospital room. And he was there, and he came back and had every opportunity to leave, and it just gave me a reason. And 30 days turned into 6 months and turned into 3 years.
And how that's incredible. And how did it feel in the beginning? Was there a withdrawal period for you?
Oh yeah, it was the hardest physically and mentally thing I've ever done in my entire life. My body was shutting down because of all the drugs and alcohol. My liver and kidneys were failing. I had chronic pancreatitis, and they doctors told me that I didn't have a shot in the world. They
Whoa.
told my mom statistically I didn't have a shot, and so I was battling mentally against the odds too. And I would say I didn't feel normal, like I didn't feel like a normal human for about 9 months of with going through withdrawals.
Wow. So 9 months. And during that 9 month period, did you do any art? Did you do anything? Or was it all just about surviving and making it to the next day?
It was really about surviving and making it to the next day, but I remember begging for a blank canvas and paint, and I felt horrible. And I took this canvas and paint down to the garage and I was like covered in my blankets anyways. And I just started painting, and I'll never forget it, like how good it felt to have some sense of myself back, some
Wow.
normalcy. And
And how
that,
long into that 9 month period was it that you started that?
it was probably about 5 months.
Wow. Wow. And then how long after that was it that you started selling? When did you sell your first painting?
About I sold my painting a little after 1 year being sober.
Wow. Okay. Cool. And it was that kind of a boost for you, kind of a confirmation?
It was totally a confirmation because it was a commission piece, and it was right after I'd started putting some stuff online. And so it was this huge, overwhelming feeling that I could actually do this.
Yeah,
because
yeah. And
actually it was a living.
was the commission from a stranger or from somebody you knew?
It was from somebody I knew. It was from
Okay,
somebody
cool.
that was watching my journey and
That's awesome.
supporting me. Yeah.
Now, when was the first time you sold a painting to a complete stranger?
That would be the next year. I did my first art show, and a stranger at the show bought a painting.
Yeah. Now that, because that I think is a really cool feeling when just somebody you don't know supports what you're doing. Because they have no emotional investment into you as a person, and it means that they just love your art for the sake of the art, which is really
Right.
cool. I mean, both are great, but it's great to get confirmation for both of those things. And if you were to describe your, so for people who are just listening and can't see the beautiful art that's behind you, how would you describe your art stylistically?
Well, because my life was so dark for so long, and my life now is so full of life and light. I like to use as much color as possible on one canvas. So even if I'm painting a storm, I like to throw reds and purples in there. And most of my art is nature based, and I like doing sunsets and storms and clouds and waves because nature really just reminds me that we get a second chance. And yeah, the skies always look so amazing after storms, and I think that's just such a good metaphor for our lives and what we go through.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that really attracts me to your work is I'm a big fan of bright colors. As you can see, my like Easter colors here, and I like bright. And I think and it's cool. Whenever I'm scrolling through my Instagram feed, like your posts always catch my eye right away. They're cool. My favorites personally so far have been the seahorse, and then there's actually a lot of I like you the ocean ones particularly, and then I think one of your latest ones with the dolphins. I really dig that too.
Thank you so much, Eric. I really appreciate your support.
Yeah. So I guess let's talk a little bit now. You are a guitar player, and we've been working together for the past couple of years. And what made you decide that you wanted to learn to play the guitar?
Well, first of all, my husband, like we talked about earlier, is a drummer.
And he's a great one at that.
He has been drumming since he was 11 years old. And I see the passion that he has for music. And it was something that I've wanted, that I was kind of jealous of, because art is what I'm passionate about, but it's my living.
Right.
And so he has another job, and music is his passion. So I wanted to share that with him and see what it was all about. And then when I started guitar with you, I chose guitar because I thought that would sound best with drums, playing with drums.
Yeah.
But when I discovered guitar with you, I fell in love with guitar, for what it is, and music and reading music, and it's just incredible. And Eric, you're the best teacher that I could have ever asked for or imagined. And I know I wouldn't have stuck with it if you hadn't have been such an encouraging teacher.
Oh, that's so nice of you to say. Well, I probably wouldn't have stuck with it if I didn't have such great students like you to work with. So going back to the art, what's next?
Well, I have bought my first laptop since 2006 because of COVID. And so I've started to make a website, and I've started to ship out paintings. I have also become a part of the Texas Visual Arts Association, and they have pieces of mine in their permanent online gallery.
Wow.
And so I've sort of been reaching out to more online networking.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Because it's probably going to be a while before you have an in-person art show.
And even we might in the fall, and they've talked about doing a big building and still wearing masks and adapting. So we might have art shows adapting to the new normal.
Yeah, great.
eventually.
Well, I sure hope so, because I really
Definitely.
miss going to art shows. That's fun. Um, so how are you primarily, so I guess online is sort of the new normal for what was your primary method of getting your art out to people before, through art shows, or was it word of mouth, or was it online?
It was definitely art shows because it's such a great networking opportunity. I sold a painting at almost every single art show I did. But if I didn't, I definitely met other artists and other gallery owners and people that were in the art world. And I'm definitely missing out on that right now, for sure.
Yeah. And so now, since the whole shutdown and everything, you've had to adapt and totally find a different way to get out. And so it looks like doing that online is kind of the way to go right now. And you had a personal art show that you were going to do that had to get canceled.
Yeah, it was going to be really cool. I was going to host an art show out of my home and home studio, and we were going to open it all up and have art everywhere in the backyard, and we were going to have two bands play and have a food truck, and it was hopefully maybe it can still happen, maybe next summer. But yeah, I was really counting on that to have a really good time and really network and sell a lot there. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like for all artists, everything is just kind of, it's like everything just stopped. Everything's just on
yeah,
pause
yeah.
until further notice. But I'm glad to find that you're using the digital market landscape to continue to network. So that's great. Well, awesome. Well, Amy, thanks so much for being here today. Where can people find you? Where can they find your art?
My art is on my Instagram at amybh.art.
Amy B as in boy, H as in Harold. Well, Harwood. Amy B H. Wait, say it one more time.
amybh.art.
AmyBH.art. Okay, and that's on Instagram. Where else? Is there an email, website?
My website will be connected to my Instagram.
Okay, great. So if you guys aren't on Instagram, here's your reason to get on Instagram. Although I feel like it's a lot of people are on Instagram now, and then you guys can get in touch with Amy that way. Amy, thanks so much for being here, and yeah, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate everything.